Welcome to the Coast Podcast. I'm Emily, a virtual assistant agency owner who left Amazon in 2019 to build my dream.
And I'm Whitney, a freelance writer and communications consultant who never felt at home in a cube farm.
We wanted to learn from people who paved their own ways like we did. So we created this podcast to talk to others who are brave enough to pick a different path. Creatives, entrepreneurs, people doing their careers and their lives their way.
Join us as we make new friends, get inspired, and show you beautiful paths less traveled.
Not every road leads to the coast, but the ones that do come with a great view.
We're here with Meghan Campbell, who just said, fuck tin fish.
Something like that.
Welcome back to the coast for another inspiring conversation with a local, wonderful entrepreneur who Emily will introduce. I am Whitney Popa, and I own a communications consultancy in Edmonds, Washington. I am slightly delirious from life right now. Emily, take it away.
My name's Emily Given, and I own a virtual assistant agency in Lynnwood, Washington. Today, we have the great honor of speaking with Meghan Campbell, who is the owner and designer at Twisted Bramble in Edmonds, Washington. Meghan, thank you for being here.
Wow. Thank you so much, Whitney and Emily.
Are we popping your cherry, your interview cherry?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Ooh.
I am a podcast virgin.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I
Yes.
feel like I should light a candle for you or something. This
I
is
have a
very
candle on.
special.
Yeah, it feels a little uncomfortable. Hands are a little sweaty, but it's exciting.
We're very much dorky people, and so, yeah, you're good. Like,
Okay.
this is not formal McFormalson. It's fine.
I can be a silly goose.
One of the things that I do is I get way far down the path and then Emily reels it back in. So I'm going to try to give you space first to tell us what you do at Twisted Bramble, and then I can jump 10 steps ahead as I do.
Yeah.
All right. I
What
love
is
it.
Twisted Bramble?
Twisted Bramble is my floral design business. Started it a couple years ago. It was my COVID career change, and I focus mostly on weddings, events, funerals, just doing environmentally friendly floral design.
Yeah, let's talk
Yeah,
about
what
that.
does that mean? Tell us.
Yes, I started my business with the goal of protecting our planet. I had kind of debated before starting my business whether or not to do consulting for businesses or to just start my own. And so I chose the latter. And the environment is really important to me as an individual. And so I wanted to implement that into my business. And what that looks like for me is exclusively using local seasonal product and using reusable, sustainable mechanics. So no floral foam, no peonies in December, no roses flown in. It can get kind of tricky, but I think that's where my creativity really thrives, is being innovative with those mechanics and thinking outside the box a little bit.
I like that. And do you, like, I saw some florist that did, like, vases.
Words are hard.
Words are really hard today. That use, like, reusable vases and things like that, like found vases at thrift stores, or would use them if they came
Please
back.
take my vases.
I think that's so
Yeah.
cool. Do you want my
Yeah,
vases?
I love that.
I have one from you.
Like, people
Okay,
have
I'll take it
shredding
back.
events. Yeah. Big vase event. And
Vase
the
event.
town we live in, I bet you could get a bazillion.
That's true.
I bet. Yeah. I
She's like, that
don't do so
didn't-
much.
It was not included in what I was saying.
No, I just don't do so much retail. So I don't always have a need for like vases and
Oh yeah, you do
bowls
beautiful
and stuff.
hand-tied.
Yeah, it's more like hand tied if one of you asks me for a favor, or it's like doing larger events where the client usually wants all the pieces to be the same.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That's so cool. In my head, I'm looking at you and I'm thinking, how does one become a floral designer? Because I look at putting things together. I can clip some stems on an angle when I feel like it and make my arrangements look decent when they're pre-made. But like to become a floral designer feels like to me, and this is my projection and my trigger coming out, people saying, as my former social media manager self, Whitney, just make a little video. That is not how it works. It is not that easy. It is not a quick thing. I feel like there is a lot of skill, creativity, and expertise that goes into what you do. And whether it's something that you learned on YouTube or not, it's a skill set. So I'm curious how you even get inspired to become a floral designer and then become a floral designer. Is it just, I decided this and I'm good at making these arrangements look pretty and feel right in the world? Or like, what is that process?
Going into it, like I said, I really wanted the environment to be at the core. And so I was looking for sort of floral design classes that cater to sustainable floristry. And
Floristry.
yeah,
I love
so,
that.
okay, side note. I always call myself a floral designer because for whatever reason, when I say I'm a florist, people are like, she's a forest? Like, is she off her rocker? Like,
I'm Megan. I'm a florist.
We're all forests, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
yeah,
universe lives in us.
I am one with the trees. Um,
Which you also
so
are.
yeah, it does kind of work like that. So I was looking for sustainable floral design courses, and obviously I was looking in the States, couldn't find anything. There was like one in New York, and it was just like not my vibe. Also wasn't sustainable. But I came across Tallulah Rose Flower School in the Lake District in England, and I was obsessed. I still am. And so I decided to do like a little 3-day intro course just to sort of dip my toes, see if this was actually something I wanted. I created some really horrendous pieces because we have to start somewhere. And I just loved doing it though. Like I loved learning, I loved working with like-minded individuals, just sort of starting that practice. And so I came back, I worked in the industry a little bit here at Edmonds, and then I decided to invest further in my career and do Tallulah Rose's 4-week career change course. So that was maybe the most empowering decision I've ever made in my life to take a month out, go to England, and spend 5 days a week learning floral design. And I felt confident and I learned so much. But I think at the end of the day, like, yes, I did learn how to create beautiful designs that were unique to me and my brand, but also learning that like I could trust myself and that I could do this. I could follow my dreams and make it happen.
I love that so much.
And then I came back and I had a business.
Yeah. I want to ask you about Tallulah Rose and your ongoing investment in yourself, because I don't know if you notice how much you invest in yourself, whether it's like things that I've done before and like free things that I've done that you really do. When you decide to do something, you really do go all in on it. Like you watch the recording later and then apply changes to your website, and then you tag me on Instagram, and then my heart swells so much that I want to cry because I'm like, Megan is a star student. Like, do you recognize that you are investing in yourself like continuously? Because I see it.
Wow, now you're making my heart swell. Um, Yes. Yeah, I think I do see that. And I think I notice it more as me investing in my business. That feels a lot easier to say than for me to be like, oh, yes, I'm investing in myself, into Megan,
Mm-hmm.
and in the life she wants.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's both. Like, not everyone agrees with me about this, and I'm always blasting about it on my Instagram because it's kind of part of my like human design and personality, but we are so interwoven in our businesses. I do feel like it's an extension of my soul that like even me investing in something that's a facial, for example, if it makes me a better person for myself and my business, that's an investment in my business too. It might not be linear, it might not be a write-off, but it's still something that I'm doing that way. And I just love too how you like take everything to heart, and even your about page, if I can gas myself up a little bit. So Megan took one of my bio workshops. I think I did a free bio workshop earlier this year. Timelines are just crazy right now. And you wrote about yourself that you're like the weird friend who boops plants in the woods. And I just lingered on that line and I loved it so much because for people who are their business, and it doesn't apply so much to Emily, but it still does lightly, adding that level of personality where you're working one on one with these people in intense, vulnerable, emotional situations, they need to come to your website and get to know you a little bit before your mutual selection process happens. And I believe all of life is a mutual selection process. So it's great for you in vetting people out. Like if they can't relate in the tiniest sense to booping plants in the
I
woods,
boop
then they're not for
everyone.
you. These little details that you add are so important, and I hope it's helped you a little bit in finding the best people for you, whether it's a funeral or a wedding, because people could be totally psycho at either.
Yes. I have found that this year I really dove into investing in myself and my business, whatever you want to call it. And as a result, I have attracted my most ideal clients. And that has been the best thing. Like, I may not be getting as many clients, but the clients I'm getting are the ones that I want. And I will do anything for them. So, yeah, having a great bio. I don't know if that's done it all for me, but I'm going to give you the credit and say, yes, the bio is the only reason I'm attracting ideal clients.
It's certainly part of it for sure. And I just love living out loud. It's something that, so our friend Michelle, who's been on the podcast and who you know too because of your connection through sustainability, we are hosting an event called Website Church, and it's on a Sunday. And I just thought it would be cute, especially for a lot of people who grew up in organized religions and aren't as didactic anymore. I thought it would be a little tongue in cheek. And she at first was uncomfortable about it because she was thinking, I want to be for everyone. I want everybody to feel comfortable here. And it just goes back to the point of if you're not a plant booper, if that's not cute or resonant for you in any way, then this might not be the right place for you. If you are offended by website church, then this might not be the place for you. And we are all constantly on that journey of how much of myself do I infuse in this business, especially when it's pretty much you right now, one to one. And it's a vulnerable thing to do, to share yourself with the world. And like me, I just think it's a creative thing that you're doing that's part of your soul. What you put in those plants is not just here's your arrangements. It's so much more than that.
Yeah, and especially with my wedding clients, I think that I think I'm making the story up, but I think that when clients are looking for wedding flowers, that's all they're looking for is flowers for their wedding. And it's so much more than that. Like, I'm asking them to be vulnerable with me, tell me how they want their wedding to look like, the feel, the atmosphere, the visual impact. I ask them to share their love story with me because why not? And in turn, I am also vulnerable with them. I share why my business has these specific values, what it means to me, what that means for them. I share my story in the intro call, and then together we get to give back to the community. So, yeah, it is just like a very personal experience. And I want them to feel comfortable, and I want to be my authentic self with them because that's just so much easier for everyone.
I have a question. What did you do? So you said this was your COVID career pivot. What did you do before that?
I was working in special education. I was working mostly in elementary schools with special
Amazing.
needs, nonverbal. Um,
Wow, that's a lot.
it was.
Were you a teacher?
No, I was just a paraeducator.
Yeah, not just. You were
Just,
a
I was,
paraeducator.
yes.
Was that something that was physically demanding as well as what it is like mentally taxing and it requires its own level of creativity?
Yes, very physical. And I loved it because it was problem solving all day. It was thinking outside the box. What does this child want? What does this child need? And how can we work together to meet goals and be safe and have fun? Those kind of things. And I've always known that I've never wanted a desk job. And so that situation, that job was like great for me for then. And likewise, this job is great for me now.
Yeah, and you have a big in both of those through lines, there's the give back element of it, where you're giving back to the community in these super impactful ways. And I see that, not to be that person, but through your mom too, because she's super involved in Hand, which is a local nonprofit organization that supports kids and families as well. So it might be a little genetic.
It might be a little bit. Yes. My parents are wonderful. They have always been giving back to the community. I mean, yeah, I saw that growing up and they continue to do so. And so now I get to do that with my business.
And you have your beautiful flowers in their garage. And I keep meaning to ride my bike. It's cold now, but I yell when I ride past your parents' house. Megan, I want to see your flowers. I want my daughter to go in there and do a tour with me, even though there's spiders, because it seems like such a magical
Oh my God.
place.
Right now it's damp and has spiders. But yes, I love having a free space to work. They're very generous with that. Yeah, you might not want to take a tour now because there are no flowers.
What does that sourcing process look like for you?
I work predominantly with two local flower farms in the area. So I will send them an email asking, hey, what do you have in this color palette available this time? Here's my budget. And I'll just get buckets and buckets and buckets full of flowers. And it's perfect. It gives me variety. They pick it like the night before, so it's all super fresh. And then everything else I get from the Seattle Wholesale Growers Market, which is a co-op in Seattle, and a bunch of different flower farmers bring their product there to sell. So it's all just very convenient. It's actually a lot easier to source exclusively seasonal and local than a lot of people think.
We were talking about potential centerpieces for our party coming up in December. And you're like, Emily, there's like not a lot of flowers in December. So what does that look like? What does your typical like winter stuff look like? You have to get extra creative then, right?
Yeah, I honestly love winter weddings because it does allow me that extra space to be creative, and it really narrows down my ideal clients. So I can easily get ideal clients in the summer when everything's in bloom, but for December, January, February, those ideal clients, there's fewer. And I have somehow unintentionally branded myself as like a green queen. sort of. And so I use a lot of moss, a lot of greens. I mean, we've got so many greens here, it's insane. Blooming branches are usually ready by February. Yeah, it just is kind of like you're not going to get a pop of color, but you will get beautiful green centerpieces that are abundant in shapes and textures and shades. Yeah, I mean, I'm double booked for a day in January. So, and both brides are like, "Yes, give me greens. I love greens. I love that you're local seasonal. Like, let's just do greens." So, it all works out.
That's amazing. How do you do a double book? Do you have somebody who supports you?
That's a really great question. I've never done it before.
You're going to do great. It's going to be great.
Yes, I am working on curating a team for both those days and working on getting those timelines and making sure someone's there at all
Hmm.
times.
Have you ever had somebody who starts their vendor list with you? They're like, I love Megan's flowers so much. I don't care about the photographer first. I'm sending the email, see if Megan has my date.
That's a great question. I don't think so.
2024 goal.
Not yet.
That's,
There we
yeah,
go.
because this is, I, with those values, some people care so much about that you align with their values in that way. I don't know that I've ever seen somebody tell me on their Instagram that they're a sustainable floral designer. I'm sure you have, but you even said it was hard to find classes in the US for it. So it's definitely a super important niche that you have. And I would think it could be common in Seattle, but the fact that you are so outwardly promoting it is different than what most people do. And your photos are just incredible. Everyone has to go to Twisted Bramble on Instagram to see all of her work.
Yeah, and I think that like a lot of people just don't think about sustainability with floristry. So, like Emily earlier brought up floral foam. A lot of my clients in our intro call don't know what floral foam is. They've never heard of it. They don't know why it's bad. And so I think it's just something that gets neglected. But for those of you who don't know, it is like a nasty green brick of microplastics and toxins that are harmful to our bodies and the environment. And it gets in water systems and it's just all around disgusting.
It
So
feels nasty.
it's sort of like styrofoam feely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gross.
I can
Yeah.
tell that you
So
don't care about that at all. Like you don't have any strong opinions about floral foam.
never. You will never hear me talking about it. Yeah, I will call people out for using floral foam. So it's just
What about the floral tape, too? Is that bad, too?
floral tape is just tape. I use it.
Oh, okay.
It's just sort of like heavy duty water resistant tape. So I use it sparingly or I'll use it and then reuse it because it's still on the vessel. But yeah, it is like often a single use plastic. So not great.
What are other bad things that people do? Like the flower fertilizer packs, are those bad?
Those are just really unnecessary. I honestly don't know what's in them, so that's probably a red flag, but they're designed to keep the water clean. All you need to do to keep water clean is just replace the water.
I'm bad about that.
So, yeah, so is my mom.
She and I have that in common. Great taste and don't change our bouquet water enough.
Oh, yeah, I will make her like beautiful arrangements with leftover flowers and come back the next day and they'll just be dead because she didn't put water in
You know
them.
what? Our moms are both triggering for us in that way. Of like, my mom takes better care of her flowers, but I just was shouting about her on my Instagram because I make this whole reel giving all this information for people. And then she's like, where is this? And I lobbed it to you. You didn't swing. That's the problem here. I give you everything you need. It's just like a very specific when you're close-ish with your mom thing, because I don't know how close you are with your mom, but I'm close with my mom that I'm just like, ugh, I feel like I can yell at her through a screen sometimes or be a brat in my text messages back to her. Like, really? I told you this place is in Everett, but you clearly did not.
Selective
Oh, the
hearing.
place you sent me.
What place?
The place that we're going to want to date.
Oh, yes. That's a different place. And Everett is on the come up. Megan, do you have brides in Everett? Emily's from Everett.
I am from Everett.
I need to start marketing up in Everett. I do not. I don't think have any Everett brides.
I actually just sent Emily, what Emily's talking about is this cute little shop. If I find it again, we can link it in the show notes and all. It's like a mercantile kind of, and it's in Everett. And I thought it would be super inspirational for us to visit as one of our weekly date places, because we typically end up at the same place. And I just thought it would be a fun, different place to be.
Everett's far though.
It is far.
Especially like it's not that far, but it's far when you get into the
Yeah.
end of the day and you're like, we have to get out of here before Boeing
Mm.
traffic gets out or else
Yeah.
we're screwed. Second shift or whatever.
I recently learned too that shift work is one of the most unhealthy things that you can do as far as a job, because your body's so poorly calibrated to what it needs to do with light and sleep and eating schedules that it kills you faster to do shift work. So if anybody's listening who does shift work and can get out of shift work, that would be ideal, because your body will thank you and you won't get diabetes.
How interesting.
These are the things that I know about, like health and sustainability.
Tuesday tips from Whitney Popa.
But for your body and everything too, I go deep researching body stuff. And what you were saying, Megan, too, with chemicals, the things that go into our water, there's so much. It's hard to pay attention to everything that you need to pay attention to as a person. So outsourcing those decisions to somebody like you who knows what they're doing, with like floral foam, for example. There's a lot of floral foam in our water that we're probably drinking, just like we're drinking people's antibiotics and birth control pills and crazy stuff that we all need, Berkeys or whatever, but those are multi-$1,000. It can get really overwhelming to know that so much of what we put on and in our bodies or near us is super toxic. So to have someone like you who is not only looking at what you can do for the world through flowers, but also protecting us in a bigger way than people probably realize, is super important. Like, this sustainability stuff doesn't just end at, I don't use floral foam. It's like you were saying, the why behind everything, and creating a better world where people live longer and get to enjoy your pretty things.
Yeah, and there's so many layers to it as well. I mean, it's just all one thing, but by sourcing local seasonal, it's reducing carbon emissions. My growers steward the land really well because it's, stolen land. So we might as well take care of it the best we can. And I'm supporting the local economy. Yeah, there's just like no downside.
Plus all the pretty things. Where do you go to find inspiration? Is it in your brain? Is it on Pinterest? Is it booping?
I love scrolling through Instagram and Pinterest. I follow a lot of accounts that are based in the UK, and I find that those are usually like a trend ahead of us, and they are more environmentally conscious than a lot of folks here are. So those would be my biggest inspirations, but also just looking outside, going for a walk. It's sort of like, ooh, look at that cool branch. Wouldn't that be cool in an arch or something? And I wonder what flowers or other foliage would look well with that. And let's make it happen.
Yeah, another thing that I love about the way that you put things together is that, and it might be because I may or may not have memorized your bio at one point, that you like things to be untamed. And that seems like it's interesting, because I'm debating in my mind of whether that's a European thing or not, because I can see them being, I mean, they have those very specific hedges that are clean and perfect. Like, if a man gets a nice haircut with the right clippers, but then they also let things run wild in bouquets and drip down. Like, my husband at Home Depot every year, he's like, the thrillers and the spillers and whatever the terms are. That's so funny. I can't get over it. But you do such an awesome job of that, of making something look so put together, but at the same time messy in the perfect way. Is that something that you learned through your European people?
Through the British. Yeah, I think so. I just like to use product in their natural form. So you'll often find, branches that are squiggly or a weird wonky stem or whatever. And it's just like fun to play with that. The term untamed actually came from when I was reading Glennon Doyle's book Untamed.
It's so good.
Yeah, and I read that like as I started chasing my dreams.
Oh,
And
I love that.
yeah, when I like thought about what I wanted my work to be and my brand and everything, it was like, well, everything I make is really untamed and I'm trying to be untamed. So
That's cool.
let's just go
yeah.
with it.
I read that on a plane with Abby Wambach.
Ugh,
Literally was on my plane.
ugh.
And I did not like intend for that to happen. I just grabbed that book off my shelf. I'm like, I haven't read this one. And then I was like sitting at the gate and I was like, is that Abby Wambach? Like, what the hell?
Your
That's
higher
so
self
cool.
knew. Just like this past weekend when
It was
Roz and
so
I
cool.
were at our hotel. He's super intuitive too, and he owns it. We actually had this conversation about it this weekend because he sent me hotels to look at, and he said, I only want 5 stars because, I find my inspiration in the 5-star hotels. And I said, you go, boy. And we picked this hotel, and then he separately was picking restaurants of places he wanted to eat, some with his team, some with me because he was there for a work trip, and then I met him to enjoy the weekend together there. And I rode the train, which I made this whole reel about, and everyone needs to do it, from Edmonds. It's so cute. And anyway, this restaurant that he had wanted to go to that he booked for us happened to be in the hotel that he booked for us. And he had no idea until after he got to the hotel, and he was like, wait, so I just go downstairs? Like, that's totally his higher self, his angels, whatever you want to believe, looking out for him, those cool synchronicities. So I totally believe that you were pulled towards that book to see Abby and be like, show the book to her, like, hey, Abby.
I think so.
I'm not a stalker.
I didn't show her, but I did say hi and she said hi to me.
I love that.
Love Abby.
I
was
actually
so
prefer
cool.
her over Glennon
Yeah,
at
it
this
was so
point.
cool.
Glennon can get kind of whiny. As much as I love seeing the inside of her brain via her books.
I would say I am Team Abby if we had to, but
We don't.
Did you see the reel where she's like trying to learn the Taylor Swift lyrics?
so precious.
It's so cute. I
Glennon
love
was
it.
trying to learn them?
It was so good.
Or Abby?
Anyway,
Abby
I was Abby. Glennon was recording Abby. It was so cute.
That's the kind of support we all need from our spouse.
I got really derailed there.
No, you're right on track. Just like Megan, when I was texting her last night, I was like, Megan, you're going to be amazing. Let's do some not so rapid rapids. You already answered this question, kind of. So unless you want to talk about more books, we'll skip a book that has impacted your business, because that you already told us about Untamed. And that's an important insight that I love sharing with people, because that book is just so necessary. What are you proudest of in your business right now?
Great question. I think I am proudest of sticking to my values. I guess having values in the first
Yeah.
place, but also like saying no to people when our values don't align.
How do you say no to them?
I like that.
I am not very good at saying no. It becomes very clear that we're not vibing. So in like our intro call, I've got a slide where I talk about like an Indigenous land acknowledgement and anti-racism, anti-discrimination, all these things that I want to bring up to make sure that we're on the same page. And I've had some folks just go completely silent. And I'm just like waiting for them to be like, oh, we love that. Yes, please call out the racist uncles at our wedding. Anything like
Yeah.
that. Like I get that from my ideal clients. They'll be like, yes, we love it. We love it. We love it. We're going to book with you. And so when a potential client doesn't, and they're just silent, then I'm like, oof, I can just end this call now. We're done here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good for you.
And even for me too, just to validate your experience, I've been running my business for almost 7 years, and it's taken me a long time as a person who considers myself pretty intuitive and strong boundaries. I feeling into myself and my voice as number one of what matters as far as decision making has been a strong process. So like back to me saying investing in myself, invest in my business, all of those things and learning to say no and like you feel something, they could have the biggest budget, they could be super cool in every other way. It makes no sense to say no to them and yet it does because it doesn't feel right. And sometimes you just have to flex that muscle over and over and over to get more comfortable. For me, I don't know that it'll ever be entirely comfortable because it's not fun to let someone down potentially, but then you would be letting yourself down, right? So I love that you're doing that and it's just cheering you on that you are because it sounds easy. Like just say no, it's not, especially in those live scenarios too.
Yeah, it's really not.
You do a lot of those calls, Emily.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I will just say like, hey, I'm not sure this is the right fit, or, we don't do that, or we can't give you that experience that you want. Like that's an unrealistic expectation, and we don't treat people that way, or like, so I just kind of try to call it out in the moment. Just say like, I'm not sure this is a fit, but hopefully you find someone who is.
Yeah, and Emily, you're so good at being professional about the way you say no. When I'm on a live
I
call
am.
and I'm like, okay, you little fucker, like you can leave. And I had to be like, okay, no, Megan, like we're just not a right fit. I'm actually unavailable on your date. Sorry.
That's fine though. I feel like
I mean, you are if you're not energetically
if that's what's going to
available.
work for you in a way that doesn't make you feel
Yeah.
uncomfortable. But I've had people like, I've actually declined someone for, they didn't realize that they had like picked up the call or whatever, and they were shouting like racist slurs at someone. And then, oh my God, it was terrible. And he called me back. He's like, oh, hi, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't realize our call had started. And I was like, you know what? We can actually just end the call. That's fine. And he was like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. And I was like, no, as a woman of color, like and a human, like this is unacceptable and we will not be working together. But he like tried to apologize hand over fist. And I was like, no, it's not happening. And I have a no assholes rule too. Like racist or not, like if you're an asshole, no thank you.
Yeah. No asshole
And
zone.
if you're an asshole to me, you're going to be an asshole to my
Right.
staff, which is not
Yeah.
okay. Like,
When that just creates,
I don't put up with that.
a lot of people look at the dollar signs and they don't consider, okay, this person could pay a high retainer, for example. But then the messes that you have to
I
clean
had a
up.
full-time retainer on a client, and they got on a call and swore at my VA, and I said, nope, you're done.
Good.
And that was like a lot of money per month. No, we don't treat people like that.
No. And the therapy you'd have to pay for, shit.
I think you should create a t-shirt that says fuck floral foam.
Yeah, I would buy it. Seriously.
That's amazing. Why haven't I thought about
Yeah.
that?
She
Triple
does love
F.
her shirts that say things.
Yeah, just
I do.
FFF.
Oof.
Yeah, fuck floral foam.
And
Wow.
Twisted
walk
Bramble
around
on
the
back.
farmer's market wearing it. Be like, yeah, this is my stance on things. This is how I feel about this particular subject. And it's strong.
It is very strong. And I can become very critical of others, and I don't like that. But yeah, like I saw this cute little dude walking into a cafe bringing flowers to presumably like a date or his girlfriend or something. And like, what a sweet gesture. But they were like roses from QFC, and I was like, gross. She would have liked them if they were local and seasonal.
Oh my gosh, I tell Roz that. Like, you have all the men, dear all men who are at Safeway and QFC, etc., on Valentine's Day that morning or the night before, no. Make a different decision.
Go across the street to the gas station where the local flower farmers have
Yes.
the tents, or call
Go
Megan
off.
ahead of time. But like those gorgeous local flowers are so, they're good.
It's
They're good.
depressing
So much
to
better.
see them all in line that day. Like if I happen to be there, I'm like, what are all these men doing here? Oh shit. They are last minuting and it is not cute.
My dad has a very cute relationship with they must have their own farm. There's a family that lives in the neighborhood above them, and every Sunday he buys their inventory, the rest of it, and it's usually like between 10 and 20 bouquets that they have left over. He buys it for like $50, and their only stipulation was that you cannot resell these. You have to give them to people. And so he has a Monday flower route where he drops them off at like people he loves. It's so
Stop.
sweet.
Oh my gosh, that's precious.
It's the
Now I
cutest
want to
thing.
be
Yeah,
someone he loves.
it's so cute.
Wow.
But yeah, they're local flower farmers, and they're pretty cool.
Oh.
Yeah, I love it. And they last so much longer because they haven't traveled thousands of miles.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Another great point by Megan. Underline that. What would your last meal be?
Not tin fish.
Not tin fish.
Even if it's sustainable.
I just don't eat fish. They've eeten so much floral
You
foam.
can't eat.
Like
You can't live here, Megan. What do you eat? You live like in seafood land.
I know. I think my last meal would be the pork belly bowl from Bardojo.
Mm, yes.
I still haven't been to Bardojo. I know. I need to go.
Yeah.
Chef Luis is in my DMs as we speak.
Chef Luis,
Oh,
I'm
he
coming.
loves it. Yeah.
3 pork belly bowls for lunch today.
I've talked to him too, and he's like, you have to come in with Whitney. I'm like,
Yeah.
I will.
He's your
Yeah.
people. And good plug for Bar Dojo. Thank you for that. They have a really awesome
No
this time of
problem.
year too. Roz was addicted to their like spicy pork ramen that they
Ooh.
bring back pretty seasonally. And then
Do they do lunch?
no, they open at 4. They and get a reservation even if you know people.
Yeah.
And they had this taco omakase that he was doing. Those
I
things
saw
always
that.
sell out.
Yeah.
He's just so talented, and he's doing his holiday pozole. I'm so white, and he's trying to see if I want to buy it, and I'm like, I don't know. I keep debating about it, but I mean I do. I just don't know if we'll have a ton of other food that we'll want to eat, and so he and his wife every year do this, and it's apparently chronic, just like everything he makes. What is the best business purchase you've made in the last 6 months under $100? Not floral foam.
Definitely haven't bought any floral foam. Under $100?
That's what everybody says.
I know.
It's a big
tricky.
challenge.
I feel like I spend $100 every time I walk out the door.
Same. Mostly online though.
Right. Yeah. Anytime I open my phone, it's $100.
Mm-hmm. Now you can TikTok
Instagram
shop
ad?
too.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Okay, give me a minute. I bought really cute compote bowls.
Ooh. Compote like to make jam?
Fruit compote? Yeah.
Ooh, no, like a footed bowl.
Oh, that's
So
what they're
like a
called?
little bowl on a pedestal. Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah, they're for a style shoot, and I think I'm going to use them a lot.
I love that.
Cute.
Yeah, super cute. What's one life experience everyone should have? We hit you with the bangers.
Yeah, why, Whitney? I think everyone should spend a couple minutes just petting moss.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
What? I love it.
Megan's out there earthing every day. That's a key to longevity.
Like, pop into Yost Park after a rainy day and just get your hands in that moss and just pet it.
You know what you were? You were a child that was described by someone like my mom, who is a retired educator, as kinesthetic, which means you touch everything. That's how she describes my daughter. And my husband will literally, this is true, he we went to a winery once years ago with dirty snow on the sides of where we parked. By the passenger door, there was a pile of dirty snow. And he, in his white tennis shoes, got out of the car, ran over to me, and said, "Wait, let me lift you out of the car so you do not get your shoes dirty." That is who I married. Then my daughter, she wants to get dirty. She wants to touch things. So every time we go to Yost Park, I am like, "Girl, touch it all. We are here without him. Do what you want. Touch the moss, feel the texture, look at the new bright green leaves on that. That means it's a new leaf," and we investigate everything. So what you just said is very relatable content, especially for the women in my family.
Yeah, like you don't have to walk into anthropology to feel nice things. You can just go pet a stump of moss.
Yes. And it feels so good. It's fluffy.
Yeah.
Have you petted moss before, Emily?
No, but I'm thinking that I'm gonna go do.
There's lots
Where are you
around.
off to? I'm just gonna go pet some moss.
Gotta go to the moss.
Moss Forest School.
The moss farm.
It's really nice. It is. And you're right. Last question. What's lighting you up lately?
Right now in my business, it's gallery season. So I'm getting all these photos back from photographers from weddings I did
Ooh.
in the summer or styled
Nice.
shoots I did this fall. And I just like will open them up and just like start crying and being like, "Oh, true love really does exist. And like, look how pretty my flowers are. And I love
Aw.
these people so much." Yeah. So I love getting those galleries and it just makes my day.
Yeah, you're right about gallery
I love it.
season because this is for one of my clients on San Juan Island that we've chatted about a little bit. They have weddings every summer. They're actually scaling back moving forward and they're only going to do weddings on the shoulder seasons. So
Okay.
that'll be cool for you as a person who loves those weddings. I'll make sure that they know about you as a florist. And they are sending me galleries now. And it's harder for me content wise, usually around this time, because so many people, are, like you said, so many people are posting in the summer. They're doing their family vacations. It's easy for me to reshare photos and reels, etc. And now I'm like, oh yeah, I get all their photos from their weddings that are just so gorgeous and really fun to talk about too. And then I get to call out all the vendors, which are small businesses, and really appreciate that kind of
Hmm.
shout out too. Like, I'm sure if people are using photos of your work and not crediting it, that is, it affects your business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to get credit for my work.
Just like anyone.
Yeah.
And it's all so beautiful. So like I said, you got to check her out. Your whole Instagram is a vibe, which leads us into where can people find you? Aside from
Yes.
petting moss and booping ferns and making
Yeah.
t-shirts.
On Instagram at twisted_bramble, twistedbramble.com. I've got some sort of Pinterest. Don't know what that is, but it's there. Yeah.
And at your
Where?
wreath workshop.
Oh my God. And at my wreath workshop on
Yes.
December 2nd from 11 to 1.
Yes.
There's a couple spots left. So
I love it. Well, thank you for sharing your life, your story, your booping, your strong feelings
Yeah,
with
thank
us.
you for being here, Megan. We love you so much.
oh, thanks for having me.
Okay, well, everyone, thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Coast. We will talk to you later. Bye.